6 a.m. on September 2, 1944, pilots and crewmen from Air Group 51 gathered in their ready rooms aboard the USS San Jacinto to be briefed on the day's air operations. The target, the Japanese communications complex on the island of Chichijima. The raid on Chichijima was just a small part of the island-hopping campaign in the Central Pacific. The next objective in the campaign was the island of Peleliu. The Japanese would use the communications outpost at Chichijima to coordinate reinforcements and resistance to the Peleliu invasion. The Japanese, with radio towers perched atop the mountains of Chichijima, could send and receive signals around the world. Concrete buildings held the transmitters and the communications operations. Extensive batteries of anti-aircraft guns protected the communications complexes, manned by some of Japan's best gunnery crews. 4 Avengers from the San Jacinto would take part in the second strike. The assignment for Lieutenant George Bush's plane, Tear 3, was to destroy the No. 6 radio tower on Mount Asahi. After the briefing, a last-minute change was made in Bush's crew. Lieutenant William Ted White, the squadron's ordnance officer, asked to fly with Bush. With the commander's approval, White replaced Bush's regular turret gunner, Lee Nadeau. The other half of Bush's regular crew, John Delaney, was in his usual spot as gunner and radio man. At 7 a.m., the pilots and the crews headed for their planes. By 7:20, the 4 Avengers were in the air, heading out for their mission over Chichijima.
In any event, it was a clear day. Best of my memory, I was just turned 20. And I knew it was going to be a fairly dangerous mission because the day before, our air group, our squadron, VT-51, had flown over Chichijima, and we'd encountered a fair amount of flak. Anyway, we climbed to 10,000 or 12,000, and our mission was to drop 4 500-pound bombs on a radio station on Chichijima. And we dove over, pushed over at about that. You feel like you're going straight down, but it was about I think 40 degrees or maybe less, but you felt like a dive bomb. Anyway, we got in there. The flak was very heavy. You could just see it and hear it almost around you. As I was 2/3 of the way down, I felt this whole plane jolt forward, and soon it was a lot of smoke. I looked on the wings of the plane after I pulled out, and you could see the flames going down where the wings folded on the TBF, and I knew I was in serious trouble. I did manage to, before pulling out to go out to try to get to safety, I did manage to drop the bombs, and did what I was paid to do, what I wanted to do for our country. Then I went out to sea. I saw that I couldn't possibly fly this plane back to the ship, and it was all happening very fast. When I saw the flame along the wing, which is right where the fuel tanks are, I said, I better get out of here. Turned the plane to the right to take the wind off the take the slipstream off the door where the crewman's supposed to get out. Made about a 180, and then I told them to get out, and then I jumped out myself. I made an exit from the plane, dove out onto the wing. I did it very badly. I pulled the ripcord too soon. I hit my head on the tail, the horizontal stabilizer of the TBF, and glancing blow like this and bleeding like a stuck pig. And the parachute momentarily hung up on the tail of the plane, and it ripped out some of the panels of the chute. So I fell faster than I normally would have. I dropped into the ocean, and I've managed to get the chute off properly. You're supposed to undo the strap here, and then hold your hands up so when you hit the water, the chute will blow away, which it did, right on towards Chichijima. And but I had failed to hook my seat pack on, hook my lifeboat onto the parachute. So a fighter plane came, dove down, showed me where that was, and I swam over, got into this life raft, and started paddling as fast as I could to go out to sea. The wind was blowing towards Chi-Chi, and I was blowing towards Chi-Chi also. And I swam as fast as I could. I was sick to my stomach. I was scared, and I wondered what happened to my crewmen. And suddenly I saw this periscope. Hoped like hell it was a U.S. submarine. We were in Japanese waters. And it was the USS Finback. They came alongside and picked me up, pulled me onto the deck. And the ship went back down again, the submarine went back down, and that started 30 terrifying days as we stayed on war patrol for 30 days on that submarine. On a voyage which won our skipper of the submarine a Silver Star. So it was a traumatic experience, but no different than a lot of kids went through in World War II.
Off the coast of Chichijima, Lieutenant George Bush was facing the grim reality of being shot down at sea. He had managed to bail out of his burning Avenger and was floating in the life raft, but the tides were carrying him slowly toward the Japanese-held island. During bailout, he'd injured his head, and in splashdown, his rations of fresh water and raft paddles had been lost. Worse still, there were no signs of his 2 crewmen. His situation was grave, but Bush was not completely alone. Flying above him, Avenger pilot Doug West saw Bush was bleeding from the head and dropped him a medical kit. Then West and Bush's wingman, Milt Moore, saw Japanese gunboats heading from the island towards their stranded companion. The 2 Avengers strafed the boats and drove off Bush's would-be captors. Meanwhile, Commander Melvin issued a prearranged rescue call. Running low on fuel, the planes made one final pass over Bush, then headed back to the San Jacinto. At 9:30 a.m., the USS Finback, on lifeguard duty around Chichijima, heard the call from Bush's CO, Donald Melvin. The waters around Chichijima were mined, making rescue maneuvers for the sub dangerous. She steamed carefully away towards Bush's location, and after a brief search, a yellow raft was sighted. At 11:56, the sub pulled alongside Bush and hauled him aboard. On deck, Ensign Bill Edwards, the Finback's photographic officer, recorded the rescue on film. After 3 hours at sea, Bush's ordeal was over. He had been one of the lucky ones. Tragically, his 2 crewmen, Ted White and John Delaney, were listed as missing in action. Like so many others, they made the ultimate sacrifice.
Twilight Zone, places in the madhouse. a bullet hits the bone. So you will come to know when a bullet hits the bone. I'm falling down a spiral, destination unknown. Double cross messenger,